Alright, I'm here and I really need to take this video because like my thoughts are racing so much about very deeply philosophical shit, and I just pace around my room talking to myself and wasting time when I want to do more productive things. And I'm thinking that maybe if I just talk in front of the camera to my audience, my massive audience of about two people that are I'm not even sure if they're gonna watch, but it doesn't matter. I just want to talk with my conscious mind, and because like when I talk in front of the camera, I'm kind of forced to be conscious for some reason, instead of being unconscious and just pacing around my room talking to myself over and over again like a fucking madman. So that's why I'm gonna take this video about the fucking deeply useless philosophical thoughts that I have. And I mean, I'm not sure if they're useless. Maybe they will have some use after 50 or 100 years or so, when the world will change or something. I don't know. But yeah, the reason my hair is wet is because I just took a shower and I didn't dry my hair completely because it's fucking hot. And yeah, that's it. And also, I just remembered that I have this Sarah Jam shirt on, and I kind of want to change it for this recording because I don't want anyone to think that I side with these people. I used to go to Sarah Jam, it's like in Craiova, that company that is supposed to kind of fix your spine and make you healthier or whatever with some massage machines and shit. But I kind of stopped going because it felt weird. The reason it was weird is because, okay, around me is like 99% old people, like very old people that can barely walk, right? They're like, no, even if you're young, it's perfectly good for you. That's what they said. It's like, okay, fine. If that's what they say, maybe they're specialists, they know better than I do. But you're obligated before every session to do the most stupid warm-up I've ever seen in my life. It feels like a warm-up for genuinely retarded, like brain dead people that don't know how to move their limbs. It doesn't warm any part of your body. I'm not an expert in like, I don't think I'm not even sure if experts exist, but I'm not an expert in like, sports, biology. I'm not very like, but like intuitively speaking, what is this movement supposed to achieve? I'm not even shitting on you. That's what they make you do. This. Not even fast, more like this. Like, I can do this for 5 minutes straight. I'm not even a sports, like, I'm not even an athlete yet. But like, this doesn't warm up anything at all. This doesn't do anything. Nothing. And then you do this. Actually, let's say this is kind of okay. Let's just, or something like that. And then, I don't know, something like weird dances of some music that just kind of repeats itself. It's like, I don't know, some shit like this. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is some shit like that? I just forgot. Like, it was the same music over and over again, right? Fucking retarded. Oh yeah, oh this. There's this. Wait, look. There's also this. What the fuck is this? What does this do? Why do I have to do this for 5 minutes? Surrounded by old people before I get my fucking massage, right? It pissed me off so much. Like, eventually I would kind of try to rebel against it. Now, like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm fine. I don't need this warm-up. I can just get me to the massage. She's like, this is obligatory. You are obliged to do this. Paul? Yeah, and it kind of reminded me of like a school, like like a teacher in one of these like post-Soviet communist schools that, especially in Romania, is like fucking weird, bro. And it's just kind of like, I'm done. Eventually, I was just kind of done. I don't know. At some point, I just kind of stopped. I don't believe in Sarah Jam anymore, but I still have the shirt. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just gonna take this off because I don't want anyone to think that I'm for Sarah. Maybe it's good for old people or some shit, but like that warm up, like maybe it's genuinely good technology. Maybe it's genuinely something good. I'm not denying that. Maybe it's genuinely, because like people say that genuinely works. And there are some people that say that it genuinely works and it's genuinely miraculous. But I feel like that warm-up ruins their entire fucking cell. That warm-up is so retarded that it's just, and useless, that, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But I don't know, it just turned me off. So like, even if I'm wrong about the warm-up being shit, like, I think any reasonable person would think that it's shit. At least have some advertisement, at least explain it or some shit, That's my rant over about Sarah Jam. It's completely unrelated to the content of this video. But let me just quickly change my shirt. Let's see what I'm gonna get. Something white would be nice. Because it's fucking hot and I want something to reflect the light. What is this? Yeah, this looks alright. This looks alright. Look at this shirt. What the fuck is this say? This is one of these shirts that nobody knows what the fuck it's trying. What's the message? What? It's one of these shirts that just kind of blends in, you know. And I'm just gonna put this back here. I'm gonna wear it off camera. You know, like I'm a sellout because I'm cheap. I don't want to buy new shirts, so I'm just gonna wear a shirt that says something. I mean, people don't even know what the fuck this is. You know? Like, I wear this shirt not because I'm a fan, but because I don't want to have many white shirts. You know what I mean? Alright, done. So, the content of this video. I'm gonna title this video something like Improbability Insanity, or The Insanity of Improbability. At first I thought Improbability Madness, but like insanity is like I and I, so it's like catchy, you know what I mean? So what I've been kind of thinking of as I was walking towards kickboxing and back home. Wait a second, I need to drink some water. I'm drinking water. I'm drinking more water because that's not enough. Alright. So, yeah. I've been kind of thinking, right, about improbability, like things that are very improbable, things that are probably not going to happen. And the way I think people delude themselves, I kind of just realized. And pointing out this delusion is not the most useful thing in the world. Wait a second, let me stop seeing my face. I'm okay. I'm just gonna stop looking at my face. So being delusional about these things is not like the end of the world. Like the world works fine, but maybe one day it will catch up. And I think I think nobody gets hurt by being more specific about things, at least for now. Okay, like I'm gonna talk about some things that are very, very, very like precise and very deeply philosophical and very deeply like that. And if they're useless, you can just forget them. But you know, maybe one day it will mean something. I mean, certainly it means something to me, because if I had a choice to not think about this deeply philosophical shit, I wouldn't have, because it's useless. I kind of hated philosophy for most of my life, but I found that like the only reason people don't think about these things non-stop is that they have this mechanism in their brain that just kind of forces ignorance upon them, and to kind of like help them think about things that are more practical. They have this mechanism that just forces ignorance when something is unreasonable. So like if I tell you there's a very low probability that a sword will appear out of nowhere and that will pierce your sexual organs or something like that, right? If I tell them that, and you cannot disprove it scientifically, but that probability is very low, and they're like, yeah, but the probability is low, so that means it's not going to happen to me, right? Very basic example. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen to you. It means it's unlikely to happen to you, which is actually not something certain. So, but they're like, but yeah, but the probability is low, so I shouldn't think about it. So, doesn't mean you shouldn't think about it. Like, it doesn't mean it won't happen, you know? They kind of confuse these. Just because the probability is low, they think it won't happen. But the correct reaction is to be scared. Unless you believe, you have faith, right? You have faith in a certain order of the universe that will make it genuinely impossible to happen, right? Unless you have that, you should be scared. Why shouldn't you? It's genuinely possible. But there are people that have neither, and I think these people are just bullshitting, and their brains have a mechanism to just force ignorance upon them. You know, ignorance and stupidity are different in the sense that ignorance is just not knowing something, and stupidity is the incapacity of knowing something. So even if you tell a stupid person something, they're not going to understand it for reasons that, could be changeable, like neuroplasticity or some shit. Maybe if you talk about economics to a 4-year-old, just fucking wait for him to grow up. Maybe some knowledge will build up on his brain, and eventually when he's an adult, he'll be able to understand it more easily. It's not necessarily age, it's more like the knowledge that he previously has. Is it gonna... But whatever, this is not what I want to talk about right now. I went on a tangent, as I always do. So I kind of figured out, by just thinking deeply nonstop, that you cannot actually say anything about the universe, right? So, like, how does this conversation even begin? Basically, what I found is that people sacrifice precision for simplicity. Everything you say has a certain balance of simplicity and precision. The more simplicity you force in what you're saying, the more you risk losing precision. And the more you try to be precise, the more you risk being hard to understand, right? Or take a lot of words to explain an idea, because the more precise you are, the more words you need to explain. Here's a very classic example that, of course, will offend people. That's my favorite one. On an Aiden Ross stream, Andrew Tate, was talking. There was XQC, I think, in there. Andrew Tate, said something about women not being able to drive, and he said women can't drive, and I think one of them replied yeah, but some women can drive, and Andrew Tate replied something like, yeah, but I'm not a dork. I'm not going to say I know some women that can drive, but there's a higher probability that women cannot drive. So maybe there are some women that are able to drive, but I'm talking about the probability that blah 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 blah, right? And he's like, I don't talk like that. I don't talk like a geek. I just say it simply. Women can't drive. Even though reality is a bit more precise than that. He simplified it to just women can't drive, His argument. I don't agree nor disagree. I'm saying nothing about his argument. I'm just talking about his speech, right? So, instead of saying there are some women that can drive, there are some women that race cars, but there's a higher probability that someone cannot drive if they're a woman, or maybe something even more, right? Because reality gets even more precise than that if you get into the statistics or whatever. But instead of that, he just says women can't drive. He just says women can't drive, right? So what did he do there? And this is something Andrew Tate does all the time. He sacrificed the precision of what he's saying for simplicity, for it to be more easily understood. He's an influencer, after all. He probably won't like me calling him an influencer, because it's usually brain dead people. Well, not brain dead people, but more like people that are not really like him. But this, you can hate on him, whatever, but we do this all the time. Everyone does this all the time. All the time you simplify things to make them easier to understand, while risking sacrificing precision of what you're saying, right? I don't know. Let me think of another example which maybe will happen to everyone. I cannot come up with an example right now. But yeah, the woman can drive thing is basically enough for you to understand what I'm trying to say. So the question is, what happens if you say the most precise things ever that you can ever say about the universe, the most high precision speech that sacrifices all simplicity? Well, not necessarily, because I would tell you that maybe I hit bedrock. Maybe I hit rock bottom in the most precise and certain and most fundamental things about the universe that are extremely precise, but sacrifice all potential of simplicity. And it's not actually so not simple, I find. It's not I can actually easily explain this, and it doesn't even take too long. So the most fundamental truths about the universe, I would say, And I think I always come up with quotes that I just attach Popescu Paul to because I want to be cool. And one of them of my own quotes that I invented are the most certain thing about the universe is uncertainty, right? So this is the first statement that I can make. The most certain thing about the universe is uncertainty. So what this means is that you cannot actually say anything about the universe. You cannot actually say anything about it. You cannot say that this will happen. You cannot say that this is true. You cannot say that this is false. Again, what's important is that I'm being extremely precise here. In normal human speech, you are going to use words like true and false to simplify what you're saying for the practicality of the situation or the argument. Maybe you are in a Saibang. What the fuck? How do I say that in English? Fucking court, right? Maybe you're in a court, you're an attorney, right? Maybe, so you have to say that something is true, something is false, blah, blah, blah. That's always relative to something, right? But in reality, if we are extremely precise about the nature of reality, nothing is true and nothing is false. These are just concepts we invented. Like, and here's what I mean. And here's how I can prove this to you. And actually, at the same time, show you what I mean. Let's say you're at a waterfall, right? And you look at a waterfall. And you try to say a statement that is absolutely true about it. Try it. I'm gonna try. I look at this waterfall, and water always falls down. It will never fall up. It will never go upwards. Right? Let's try that. Is that absolutely true? Well, you don't even need to be very philosophical to just know that this is not true. Science already tells you that this is not true. Some of the H2O molecules are gonna go up because they're gonna evaporate for whatever fucking reason, and you're not going to see them with the naked eye, right? So some molecules do go up. Let's try. That didn't work out well, did it? Let's try again then. Okay, all visible water that is not like invisible will never go up. There we go. Now it looks like I beat it. And I beat science. This is one thing that I can say it's scientifically true. But here's the problem. Science is only a prediction machine. It does not actually know anything about the universe. Like, not know, but like, people seem to have a very, very persistent delusion in their minds that the universe obeys the laws of science. And the truth is, it's completely the other way around. The universe could not give less of a fuck what science and scientists think about it. The universe does whatever the fuck it wants. Right? Like these black women that are like independent and shit. They don't need men, right? That's the universe. It doesn't need these scientists to tell it what to do. In fact, it's not even a good comparison. Science is more like a crazed fan. You know, like these crazed fans of celebrities that like track all of their movements and try to like follow them around and stalk them. That's what science actually is. It's just a crazed fan, a stalker of the universe that tries to like precisely like analyze every single move of the universe, like even the small particles and shit, right? And the universe just looks at the scientists, and the science like, well, that's cute. You think you know some shit about me. You think now you can predict my particles. Okay, then I'm gonna keep moving them like this, just so you feel good about yourself. Maybe I'm gonna give you like this reward. I'm gonna make gravity always go down, just like as you think it does. And I'm not really. I'm gonna pinky promise that I'm never gonna make it go up. How's that? Well, the universe never actually talks, so you cannot have conversations with it. But like, the universe does not obey science. If the universe wants to make gravity go up, one moment it will. Like, no, it won't. How do you know? Did you talk to the universe? Did you make like a pinky finger pact with it? Please never make gravity go up, okay? We made a promise that it's always gonna go down. No, never. Never. Science just looked at the universe and said, I've never ever in my life seen gravity go up. I've never seen me picking up an apple, letting it go, and just it going up into the sky. Ever. Right? It's never gonna happen. So, it's safe to say that it's never gonna happen, right? Well, reasonably and practically speaking, maybe not, you know? There's always a framework, a context in this shit. And we always play games, but whatever, I'm gonna get into that again. But yeah, this is the thing. Did I say something absolutely true about that waterfall, that the visible water is never gonna go up? Nope. Even though it's scientific, it might be scientifically true. In fact, it's even scientifically questionable. What if some like droplet that is just barely visible, but you can see it went up, and after it went up, it evaporated or whatever. Whatever. Let's just imagine. Let's just take the waterfall abstraction for now, because we keep getting hit with this science thing, and I'm trying to say that this goes even beyond science. Right? It goes beyond science. It's not just science. We can even say something that is perfectly scientifically true, and it cannot be denied scientifically in any way, shape, or form, and it can still be false. Why? Because you don't know. Like, you can never ever say anything that is true or false about the universe. Neither true nor false, because they're like opposites of the same thing. You can never say a state. Here's how I can say this properly, because like true and false are actually just two sides of the same coin. You can never say anything that is certain about the universe, ever. Because even if it's scientifically certain, science is just a game that we invented. It's just a prediction machine that we invented. We just observed some universal behaviors. And if it changes, the game of science is that we try to come up with a new framework to explain it, right? But that's about it. I mean, even in practicality, science can fail. Even in practicality. Let alone in the world of absolute philosophical precision, where we are the most scrutinous, and I am, because I didn't really see many people talk like this, but if you try to be like absolutely okay, so you cannot say anything certain about the universe. You understand what I mean now, right? You could never say anything that is like true or false, because alright, let's try again. Let's try something that is absolutely scientifically true, and nobody could ever deny it. If I have this in my hand, this entire visible object, will never go up. So if I do this, it's always going to go down like this. Scientifically, this is true. But as I said, the universe does not obey science. Science obeys it. It's the other way around, you know. So can I say that it will absolutely never go up, even if science says that it will always go up? No. Why not? Well, how do you know that it will never go up? Well, the scientific data said that among 5,000 years or some shit like that of human evolution, no instance has ever been observed of an object going up like that. Like what I said. No instance has ever been observed, let me generalize it, of anything like that happening. Ever. This means it will never happen. Right? Right? No. It just means that it's reasonable to say intuitively that it will never happen. You just made an intuitive prediction based on purely on your feelings and intuition that it will never happen. Because among 5,000 years of human existence, it was never observed happening. So that means it will never, ever, ever happen. No, it doesn't. It just means you, intuitively speaking, you just made, based on your feelings, your subjectivity, and your intuition, right? Based on your intuition, you just said that it will never happen. And you have faith, right? This is faith. Everyone has faith all the time, because otherwise you go crazy. If you don't have faith that the gravity will always go down, you're going to go crazy. If you don't have faith that a sword will not appear out of nowhere, like in a video game, and just go right through your organs out of nowhere when you're just sitting in your room. If you don't have faith that won't happen, you're going to go insane. Like I did, because I did not have that protective mechanism of faith, ever. Right? People don't know what it's like to not have faith in the universe. It's one of the most terrifying mental, like, psychological experiences you could go through. I remember genuinely being, like, crying in bed, feeling like doom, thinking that I'm going to teleport in a pit of, like, inside a box. That's what it was like. Like, I'm gonna go to sleep, not go to sleep necessarily, just sit in bed, and instantly, within an instant, I will be in a fox and I will suffocate to death. Endlessly. You can even get more creative about this. I will teleport in a world where nothing could ever happen to me. Like, people have, like, in V manga, in the Japanese internet, like, some people, like, play with this subject of, like, pressing a button and being teleported in a world where nothing can happen to you. You're invincible, but you cannot do anything. It's just a world of nothingness. Or like teleported inside of a void of nothingness, with just oblivion, where you actually exist, you're perfectly conscious of the oblivion, but nothing will ever happen for a quintillion years, right? Fucking terrifying. If you can genuinely process that information and understand what it means, and understand that there's no way for science to prove or disprove that it could happen, then you're fucked, right? Because you're fucked. And people, the only reason people are not terrified of this is because they have, as I said, they have this mechanism of forced ignorance, which is called reasonability, right? It's a mechanism of the human brain that forces ignorance upon the person to make it just dismiss something. Even though they cannot prove that it's true or false, they're just going to dismiss it. Completely stupidly. It's not, they just, their brains are just going to go, no, that won't happen. That won't happen. No, it doesn't make any, it's not reasonable. That won't happen to me. Of course, these statements are completely bullshit. They don't have any value. They don't have any meaning, right? Faith. I think it's faith. I think they genuinely have faith, but they don't know how to say it properly because they're not very verbose in this. They're not very verbose, you know. They're very simplistic people, you know. So they're just going to say, no, but I don't think it'll happen. That's faith, right? You have faith that it won't happen. That's what it actually means. And faith extends intelligence. Faith is a thing that extends knowledge. It's like a projection, right? You just made a prediction of faith that extends all human knowledge, everything, and just somehow makes you feel like that is true, right? It's the most powerful thing there is if you think about it, right? And the only way to defeat fear is faith. I'm not talking about necessarily about religious faith. You don't have to be religious. You could be an atheist. You could be whatever the fuck you want, but you can still have faith. Any human is capable of faith, regardless of their religion, regardless of their upbringing, ethnicity, whatever. Any human is capable of faith. Someone can be one of these like material atheists and not believe absolutely anything that is not material, and still have faith that, yeah, but I'll succeed. Yeah, but I'm intelligent. I'll make it. I can be rich. I have the power to do it. They don't know it. They have not a fucking clue what could happen to them. Maybe they're gonna die tomorrow in a car crash. But if they think like that, it's going to fucking make them go insane. So they have faith that they will not die tomorrow. They have faith that they will face any possible threat that there is and they'll make it. And that's faith. They'll have faith that they will not get teleported in a box and suffocated. They have faith that they will not go through infinite pain instantly for absolutely no reason. They have faith that they will not teleport, like that science will keep being true, that gravity will keep being true. That's faith, right? So, yeah, I just kind of disassembled this whole crap, We need to really, get this specifically done, We need to get this specifically, the specificities of this shit, right? And the reason, as I said, that I'm capable to think about these things and I came up with these theories is that, well, they're not theories, I think. I mean, there are theories, but it's as close to reality as you can get, I think. What I'm saying right now, it's the closest thing you can get to reality, even though it sounds like the complete opposite. It sounds like the most unreal shit ever, but yeah, it's the most certain things you can talk about the universe. The reason I had this is because I did not have this mechanism of forced ignorance, which is reasonability, when I was a little kid, right? I did not have this, so that's why I would be terrified and cry in bed. I cried one night. I don't know why. I'm an archetype of human being that just doesn't show emotion ever. I could feel the worst possible doom, fear, shit ever, and I will just have a normal, neutral face. Right? I'm the opposite of I could feel the worst emotion possible. I could be genuinely terrified. I will not show anything on my face. It's just the way I am. I do not necessarily want or not want to be like this. It's just the way I am, probably since birth, or maybe Maybe it's nurture, maybe it's not nature. I have no clue. Maybe a combination of the two, but it's just the way I am. And so for me, maybe the total amount of times I've ever cried, maybe like 8 times in my entire life, and most of these, maybe 5 or 4, have been in my early childhood. You know, so this means that I'm genuinely like a person that just doesn't show emotion. And if I cry ever, it's something serious. It's no bullshit. It's something very serious if I cry, right? I guess that's the advantage of it. It's the opposite of crying wolf, you know. Like, if I cry, it's something to be taken serious. It's something serious. And saying that I once genuinely cried in bed when I was a kid about the fear of being teleported in a box. Nowadays, these fears evolved and became more abstract, but basically, it was always something like that. I did not quite know what the fuck is going on. I did not quite know why nobody was taking me seriously. I did not quite know how people did not understand what I'm saying. I did not know why people just say, "Oh, yeah, but that won't happen." How the fuck do they have this certainty? I did not understand. Why is it okay for them, but it's not for me? Like, how do they not see the threat that science cannot prove or disprove anything, that something horrible can genuinely happen to me? What actually happened is that, well, now I grew up a little bit. Now I'm 21. I'm not like 7, 8, or 11 anymore, the age that I was when I was fearing these things. I grew up and I understand what the hell is going on. These people have faith, but they're too stupid. They're not able to like genuinely say it with their mouth. That's what they actually have. It's not intelligence. It's not like you're retarded, you should go to a psychiatrist, but I'm a normal person. No, it's just faith. That's it. They have faith, but they don't know how to say it, right? That they have faith and intuition, right? And I do not have faith, right? Any atheist that does not cry in bed every single night and is not terrified every single second has faith in something. Not having faith in anything and accept the fact that the universe is indifferent, that's also a faith, right? Having faith that the universe is indifferent, you can have faith in negative things, right? You can have faith that the universe hates me, only horrible things happen to me, I'm unlucky, I'm stupid, I'm bad at math. You know, these are all faith. These are all beliefs. So if you're only, because like I think many atheists are bullshitting themselves. Don't get me wrong, I get the point of atheists, of atheism. Like, I think it was initially something heroic, like many things that are at the beginning heroic and they turn into bullshit. I think I don't know history very well, but generally the idea is that atheism started as like a movement to go against the tyrannical church, right? The church that like was tyrannical on people, was against science, which at least at the time, science was a force for good, right? Like, the belief in science was like for your own good, you know? Like, it was something genuinely good, something progressive, something nice, and people were getting killed for that, right? It's not good. And religion was at power. Everyone believed in religion, and they were being indoctrinated because of them. And the problem with religion was that you can tell people anything, and they're basically... The problem with the religion is that most people are stupid. You can tell them anything and they'll believe it, even though it's not the word of God, you know? And if the word of God, let's say hypothetically, if the word of God was given to a human being, and he wrote it into a book, if that book was written by a human being, then it's prone to mistake. Even if you wrote it in the most easy to understand and no way that any of this is a mistake. No way that any of this is not to be understood perfectly. Even then, a stupid person is gonna read it and misunderstand it, right? So, religion and the idea that God sent humanity a readme.text, even if it's perfectly written, assuming it's perfectly written, which is probably not, because a fucking human being wrote it in, people were stupid. Even then, the person reading it is always gonna make a misunderstanding. Always. It's prone to happen. It's always gonna happen, right? So, from the get-go, religion is prone to just be full of misunderstandings. And I think it's mostly misunderstandings. How the fuck are you supposed to understand God? Probably the most complex concept there fucking is, bro. Of course you're gonna start thinking like, I better kill my child or I'm going to hell. Some bullshit, like anything could happen, right? So religion was prone to fail. It was evil, man. It was just pure evil, right? And atheism came to save the day. The heroes we all needed to save the fucking day, right? The atheists. And that's how atheism started. Saying religion is evil, it's good for nothing, it only leads to war, famine, bullshit, people getting killed, evil, right? And yeah, but eventually atheism evolved to be exactly, in my opinion, it evolved to be exactly what it preached against. In the sense that now atheists, instead of just leaving it at church indoctrination is bad, instead of just leaving it at that, they started developing their own bullshit, their own faiths, and it's actually worse than religion in my opinion. Okay, practically speaking, what the church did to humanity was way worse than what atheists did to humanity, but I think like what atheists are doing right now are like psychological crimes. They're psychologically torturing people that are vulnerable and not very philosophically oriented. Like you can tell them something and they don't know how to disprove it, so they're just going to like cry in bed like I did. So they're gonna go tell you some shit like that they started developing some weird fucking faiths that they preached against. They preached against faith, they preach against belief, but they have their own faiths and belief that are actually fucking terrible. Like oblivion after death. I think that's the worst crime to humanity ever committed. This oblivion after death thingy, right? The idea that after you die, there's nothing. And they do a very good job of tricking you. They do a very, very good job of tricking you. I've deeply thought about this. I've spent more time thinking about oblivion after death and these subjects than I think most human beings have. The reason is because I felt I had no choice, because I genuinely felt threatened and terrified every single night by it, right? It's the way humans are. If you're not going to think about something much if it's not negative. Humans are not built for gratitude. They're built to pay attention to things that are threatening, that are bad, that are horrible, that are terrible, that there's blood, famine, horrible shit. That's what you're going to think about all the time. You're going to think that it's pain and suffering. That's it. You're not going to think about positive things, are you? You're not going to think about, oh, I have food on my table. Yoo-hoo, I have money, nice. I have $5 million. Nice. Many people are poorer than me. I'm glad to be rich. No, you never think about that shit. It's because humans are designed like that. If we, like biologically, if we were to think about positive things more than negative things, we would die out. Because it's like if you're in a tribe, I think you already understand what I want to say. I don't need to explain this. I think you already understand what I want to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Like in a tribe, you're gonna be next to your teammate, whatever, your tribe's member, and you're gonna eat. You're not gonna be thinking, thank fuck we have food. I am grateful for this food. No, you're gonna think, oh fuck, the saber-toothed tiger might be coming. Oh fuck, you're gonna think about all these probabilities of danger of you getting killed, like you're gonna get killed in a gory fashion. That's all what you're gonna think about, because that's what you're supposed to think about. That's life, you know? So the only reason people don't think about philosophy non-stop the way I do is that deep, very esoteric stuff that I do is because they don't feel threatened by it, because they always have this faith mechanism of making themselves ignorant, right? They have this mechanism of faith. I don't have. I never had it. Ever since I was a child, I was a person without faith. If I don't know something certainly, I'm fucked. That's basically what I had. You know, and that's what happens when you don't have faith. You're genuinely fucked. You're at the will of if you don't have faith in anything except faith in an indifferent universe, you're fucked. If by that you're not terrified every single second of your life, that means you're lying. You're lying. Either that, or you do not actually understand the weight of what you're saying. Do you understand how terrifying and utterly miserable the concept of an indifferent universe is? You don't. Okay, think of it like this. Imagine, like, the people at the top, you know, controlling humanity. Ideally, you would think that they have the control of the nuclear warheads or some shit like that. But we don't know anything about how this world works. So I'm not gonna make I'm not gonna jump my foot into assumptions that I don't know much about. But let's just say, ideally, like a thought experiment, that the people in power are in charge of the nuclear warheads. Let's just say that, and let's just say they're indifferent. They don't give a fuck. What do you think is gonna happen? Like, I think indifference is kind of tends towards malevolence, because, and I think an indifferent universe is kind of close to a malevolent universe. And an indifferent, like human, okay, first off, what I wanted to say in the example is that the warheads are going to be launched. Something will happen, I don't know, a coffee spilled on him, and he's like, fuck it, and he just presses the button. That's indifference, right? He doesn't care whether the warhead goes or not. That's precisely what indifference is. It's 50, like, it's genuinely 50-50. Whether the warhead gets launched or not is basically the same thing, because there's no preference. That's what complete indifference means. It means there's no preference for it being launched versus it being not launched. So it's kind of the same thing, right? So everyone's gonna die, basically, but that's not too bad, because maybe it's a quick death, because you get burned to death. And getting burned alive by a nuclear warhead, like, quickly, like, you getting blasted and everyone dying pretty quickly, it's not that bad, because at least you get to die quickly. But who said you have to die quickly? What if, like, I'm going to leave it to you to research torture mechanisms, like the worst pains inflicted on humans ever. And now, like, if we want to not be ignorant about this world, okay? Let's not be ignorant. Let's genuinely look at what there is and what is physically possible to commit to another human being. What levels of pain and turmoil are possible, right? Don't be ignorant. Don't be a bitch. Research it. If we want to talk about this, if you're an atheist, combating me right now with your little puny, the universe is irrelevant, but everything is okay type shit, look into it right now, okay? Stop being a bitch, because I'm talking to you. If there is one thing I stand for in this world, one thing that I genuinely stand against, it's the concept of an indifferent universe and the concept of oblivion after death. These are the two concepts that I stand against with all my power. So yeah, in general, many subjects in life, I'm more like, okay, I'm neutral about this, or I don't know enough information. I'm just gonna say this and this and this. My intuition says that maybe this would be blah 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 blah. But the only things that I'm genuinely, like, with all my will, completely against is in the concept of an indifferent universe and the concept of oblivion after death. If you are for these, you are my enemy, okay? And we need to debate this out and see who the fuck thinks better and see who's smarter, okay? I am smarter than you, most likely. The only people that I think are, like, remotely coherent and that I have some difficulty going against is the atheist Sam Harris. I feel like I cannot disprove that man. But most of you on Reddit and shit, thinking you know anything, oblivion after death is actually not that bad because you're not going to be conscious of it, so it's peace, it's nothing that bad. Or, like, the indifferent universe is merely indifferent. Does not mean it's malevolent, does not mean you're going to get hurt, you know? I'm going to stomp you with facts and logic, like Ben Shapiro is doing with the fucking leftists, okay? You have no fucking clue how deeply I've thought about this, because unlike you, which you just thought about it, like, and your ignorance saved you, pain and suffering of thinking about it more deeply, because you left at a checkpoint in which not much pain and suffering is. But instead of it, I did not have that luxury. I understood the weight and terrifying shit of what you're saying, and I had to go through the pain of the horrible shit to dig out the bullshit of what you're actually saying, okay? So let's get into this. So my rant begins. This is not what I intended this video to be, but I'm going to get there anyway. I'm just endlessly rambling, but let's see why you are wrong and I'm right. So about the indifferent universe or something like that, right? So what the fuck did I want to say? Yeah. Alright, so let's start with the indifferent universe. My argument is that an indifferent universe is basically, for all intents and purposes, malevolent. It's not completely malevolent, but it's mostly more malevolent. It's more bad than it is good. When you think of the word indifferent, you would think 50-50. It's equally evil as it is good, right? Something like that. Some jargon like that, right? I would say no, definitely not. If a malevolent universe is by definition 100% evil and aims for optimal mayhem and suffering and pain, then an indifferent universe would be something like 95% evil and 5% good. Something like that, I would say. Yes, this is my argument, and this is what I'm going to fight to prove right, and you wrong if you think it's 50-50 or some shit like that. Right, so a benevolent universe would be 100% good and 0% evil. It's not entirely impossible. You can have faith in either of those. These cannot be disproven as true or false. And in fact, you cannot even say that one is more likely to exist than another. If you analyze it, because you might say, well, there's so much evil and pain in the universe that there's no way this universe is benevolent. Well, you can make some statements that will lead to that in a logical fashion. Pseudo-logical fashion, because logic does not actually exist if we are to get into it, but whatever. But, my argument is that if the universe truly were indifferent, it would be like the indifference of the universe would be like 95% skewed towards evil, right? Why? First off, for us to talk about something that is real and like let's be connected to reality, because if you genuinely think that an indifferent universe is okay, like if the universe is indifferent, it's fine. Just make logical decisions to put yourself on the good side, not on the side of pain. Just make logical decisions and everything is going to be fine. You think you can outsmart the universe. That's basically what you think. That's a huge ego. Yeah, it's so stupid. You think you can outsmart the universe. You think you're smarter than the universe. You think you're so fucking smart that you're going to make the perfect decisions in your life to avoid horrible suffering and torture. That's what you think. Let's see what happens. Let's see what reality decides. Maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe you're going to be lucky. But if you're not lucky, and life will treat you horribly, and you're gonna get a horrible disease, you're probably gonna kill yourself. Like if something horrible happens in your life, and you have faith in like an indifferent universe, you're gonna kill yourself, probably, practically speaking, right? So, the first reason why I say, so for us to be like realistic in this discussion, so like be connected with reality, you have to research the worst pains inflicted on human beings ever, like the worst torture mechanisms in history. Maybe Furuta Junko here and there, like some of the horrible things happened in history. When I got into those, I was genuinely like shocked to the point of like crying. I told you before in this video, like if I cry, it's something serious. I was genuinely traumatized by what I witnessed, and it changed my life forever. I didn't know the universe was that skewed towards pain, you know? So, yeah. Research these. Or you know them already. You already know the horrible pains that are possible in this life, right? Right. Maybe you already know this stuff, right? So we can agree that pain can get very, very bad. It can get seriously, seriously bad. Okay. And suffering. Pain and suffering are kind of isolated concepts. They're not equal to each other, but whatever. We're going to abstract that away and just say pain. So, now, the worst possible suffering that you could possibly experience in life is probably something like that. Something like that, vaguely. Maybe some torture like that, physically. Maybe some... I'm not going to use words because maybe there are some people that are like genuinely like... more people that don't know this stuff yet. They don't know the torture mechanisms yet, not know any of that yet. Maybe it's going to traumatize them. That's why I'm not going to say anything specific. But we can both agree that pain goes down deep, right? Okay. Now let's think about what are the best things that could possibly happen to you in life. Benevolence, so to speak. Well, you could be a billionaire, fit, what else? I don't know, eat delicious food. Have infinite options for sex. I don't know. Imagine all of your dreams coming true. every single possible thing you could want out of it coming true. I cannot think of benevolence as anything other than that, right? For practicality reasons, let's take enlightenment out of the equation. Enlightenment is a subject that is very complex and not even completely I don't completely understand it. I've looked into it, I've thought deeply about it, but I think for the sake of this discussion, it would be more useful for us to abstract it away and just pretend it doesn't exist for now. In practicality, how many people are going to be spiritually enlightened? Nobody. Probably a fucking handful, right? If we take spiritual enlightenment for what it is. So basically, nobody's spiritually enlightened, right? If we could, like, take this concept of a human that is genuinely invincible to all forms of suffering. If that exists, then God bless. But we can agree that pretty much nobody is spiritually enlightened, right? So if someone thinks they're spiritually enlightened, just throw them in a pit of fire and see how they react. They're not so spiritually enlightened, are they? If you throw them in a pit of fire or pour molten, like, metal on their face or some shit, they're not gonna be so enlightened, are they? They're gonna scream in pain. And they're gonna tell you to stop. okay, I'm not enlightened. I'm gonna stop the torture, right? Yeah. Not many people are enlightened. So in practicality, we can just abstract that away and just pretend it doesn't exist. For the sake of this debate, okay? Now, we can agree on one thing. You, like me, the person that says that in different universe is skewed towards evil very, very much. And the you that says that in a different universe is not so bad. If you believe in an indifferent universe, it's actually pretty okay. Nihilism is not that bad, okay? Here's how I'm going to prove you wrong. The universe is mostly skewed towards pain. If you are to make everything random and arbitrary and meaningless, which is basically what you're counting for, right? Which is basically what you're saying. If everything is like up to chance and doesn't mean jack shit, there's no higher order, there's no karma, there's no nothing, everything just kind of happens in a sort of material sense, right? If that's the case, then you're fucked. Because the universe is way more skewed towards pain than it is towards... Like, human existence is way more skewed towards pain than it is towards... What's the opposite of pain? Pleasure? Not even pleasure. Pleasure, fun, anything that is positive, right? So, you can get rich. How happy are you going to be? Well, it's going to be nice. But, I don't know. How do I make this very easy to understand? For anyone to understand. If you are going to trade 5 seconds of you being in the worst torture and suffering imaginable to a human being to then get a year of the best life possible, or like forever, not even a year, the rest of your life, all your dreams are come true and everything is good, best things to you, right? If you are not stupid, you are not going to take that deal. If you are not a fucking idiot, you're not going to take that deal. 5 seconds of the worst pain imaginable are incomparably worse than a lifetime of good, of the best thing, the most good, nice, best thing in the human experience. You get what I mean now? If you would take that deal, you're fucking stupid. In the first second of suffering, you would cancel immediately, right? You would cancel immediately. That's what I'm trying to say. Of course, these time frames, 5 seconds, a lifetime, these specific time frames, there's probably problems with them, blah blah blah. Like, anything specific yields problems eventually. But I try to make my arguments very generalized so that it doesn't yield these fucking pesky specificity problems. But generally, what I'm trying to say is that in practicality, the universe is way more skewed towards pain and suffering than it is skewed towards happiness. You get what I mean? So, if the universe is indifferent, then everyone is in pain, basically. Because, right? Do you have anything to say against me? No. I'm right. In fact, you're too stupid to say anything, so I'm going to make the best move on the chessboard for you. I'm going to put myself in your place and give myself the hardest argument against what I just said. Yeah, okay, Paul. So an indifferent universe is mostly pain and very little happiness, according to what you say. That's perfectly fine. Can you explain to me, Paul, then, why are most people sort of okay in the world? Like, out of the entire population of 8 billion people, of course, there's many people that are in famine, many people that are going through horrible shit, but of course, it's probably certain that what they're going through is not as bad as the worst forms of torture known to humanity. So it's pretty reasonable to say, again, that the worst forms of torture tend to not happen to many people. Right? It's not very common. Right? Good argument. That's a good argument against me. And I cannot disprove that even in this universe, in which that form of torture and pain does not happen very commonly, can I say that the universe is indifferent or not? Can I say that that's true or false? Of course I can. As I said previously, nothing is certain. Everything is faith. So if I have faith that the universe is indifferent, and then I look out my window, everything is fine. Right? And this is actually a very tough counter-argument to handle. It's a very good move on the chessboard against me. I'll have to think about this. So why is it that way? Okay. Because, like, the universe can be indifferent, but probability is probability. A universe can be indifferent with probabilities skewed towards happiness, right? So, like, in terms of pure potentiality, pain is always, like, the universe is way more skewed towards pain. There's way more pain possible if you want to randomize everything than there is happiness. Happiness is very fleeting. It's very, like, it's hard to get. Once you get it, it flies away. Hedonic adaptation, all scientific bullshit, like brain chemicals. It's fucking hard to be happy, bro. Like, it's genuinely like being happy for 5 seconds is like getting so many things right and then you fuck them up again. It's, you know what I mean? But pain is fucking easy to get. Just burn someone alive. It's so easy to put anyone in pain. Grab a knife, put it in their chest. It's simple. In fact, pain is so easy to go through. Like, even psychological pain. Just don't do anything to anyone. They're gonna be depressed. Nobody did anything to you, and you're depressed and want to kill yourself. That's how easy it is to be in pain. It's just don't do anything to him, and he's gonna kill himself anyway, right? So, like, the universe, in terms of pure potentiality, is skewed towards pain, as I said. But in practicality, if we analyze the way that probabilities are spread, the probability of going through, like, the worst pains tends to be very, very low, right? And everything tends to be kind of okay because probabilities kind of make it that way. So even if the universe is indifferent, its probabilities are skewed towards negligible pain. So, like, I don't know, getting punched in the face, not that bad, right? Compared to going through torture, not that bad, right? Formal torture is what I mean. But that means the universe is not indifferent, is it? If it's all its probabilities, we don't. Okay, let's think about probability for a second. A probability. Something that I thought about. Most of the things I've just thought about myself. Maybe some people have already come up with these things, but I haven't read enough books to... I kind of had to reinvent the wheel myself for many things. Because I'll have to read like 500 books on philosophy, law, psychology, spirituality. I'll have to read a lot of shit on this stuff. Like 500 books to even, like, avoid reinventing the wheel too much. But unfortunately, I did not really have that time and patience and attention span to, like, read more than, like, how many books have I read? Like, about 6. Nah, even less. How many books have I read, actually? Who cares? Whatever. I haven't read many books, right? So most of the stuff I had to reinvent the wheel. But whatever. Another one of the things that I kind of came up with is that the concept of probability is, like, probability only makes sense when a system is unknown. The modulus operandi of a system is unknown to the person analyzing it, right? Because otherwise probability doesn't make sense. So if you understand the system perfectly, the more you understand the system, the more probabilities get skewed towards 100% and 0%, right? Right. So like, the more you understand a system, I'm gonna say this again, the more the probabilities get skewed towards 100% and 0% about everything about the system. So I think this is a pretty reasonable statement to make. Like, I don't know. Say, I don't know, a monitor on your screen. Imagine someone is looking at your desktop, right? And because you're a loser, you have an anime girl on your desktop because you're a fucking loser. And it's like pink or some shit, I don't know. When you go to your desktop. When you go on the browser, it's like white or dark if you have dark theme or some shit. So the colors on your monitor change based on what you're doing. Imagine there's an ape behind you that has no fucking clue what the fuck a computer is, a monitor is, or whatever. And that stupid person tries to like make some probabilities about the system that is your monitor, right? It tries to figure out what are the circumstances of a color, of certain colors appearing, right? It's a pretty easy to understand example, right? So according to it, maybe there's a 30% chance for it to be blue, 15% chance of it being pink or some shit like that. Probabilities get spread kind of like that. It tries to think about the time of the day, tries to look at the movement of your mouse. It tries to look at all sorts of things, right? But it doesn't really understand the system, so the probabilities are kind of left at that. If you are to analyze the system more, you would notice that whenever he's reading something, the screen tends to be black. He's on dark theme, right? And on the browser, whatever. So like, it's a 90% probability for the screen to be mostly black if the person is reading. If the person is away from the desktop, you notice that there's a 90% probability of it being pink because the loser has a fucking anime girl on it, right? No, anime girls are pink, but just whatever. And, right? So, all of a sudden, he understood more about the system, and the probabilities are now more skewed towards 90% and like 10%. If you understand the system absolutely completely, then whenever he's on his desktop, the probability of the monitor having those certain colors is basically 100%. Whenever he's reading on his browser, whatever, the probability of the screen being black is basically 100%. The probability of the screen being pink, like the entire screen being pink when he's reading something, is basically 0%. You get what I mean now? Okay, it's actually probably a bit of a shitty example, but generally, if you are to analyze any system in life, the more you know about the system, the more the probabilities are skewed towards 0% and 100%, right? Right. So, whenever the probabilities are not always 0% or always 100%, aka always true, always false, that means we don't know something about the system, basically speaking. This is like, for now, we're ignoring things like quantum mechanics that says there are genuinely like undeterminable, uncontextual probabilities exist in the formation of the universe, or whatever the quantum mechanics says. We're going to ignore that for now. We're just going to talk about practical probability, like the probability all of us know. So like, if you don't know something about the system, like that's the only time when probability makes sense, right? Because probability is random chance. Basically, you don't know. There's a 30% chance that the ball is going to be blue. There's a 70% chance that it's going to be red. You don't know the modulus operandi of the machine that creates balls, right? But if you look inside it, if you look at all its pistons and whatever, you're going to realize that whenever the thing goes that way, you're going to become able to predict that a blue ball is going to come 100% now, right? Because you looked inside the system, how the balls are created, right? 0% chance of it being red, 100% chance of it being blue, right? The more you understand the system. So you get what I mean now, right? So, yeah. Alright. Should I pause the video and re-record? What if the recording gets fucking corrupted or some shit? Should I just keep it? Ah, fuck it. I'll keep it like this for now. I don't think my computer will crash. But yeah. I have faith that my computer won't crash. Don't worry, I don't talk like this normally. I don't talk like this with people. With normal people, I just talk normally like a normal person. Because I know that it's fucking annoying to talk like this to a human being. Like trying to be specific about anything. You're gonna be annoying because people want simplicity. And in fact, I don't blame them. I actually want simplicity in normal conversations too. Because like it's easier to live like that, right? You don't have to be like philosophical all the time, but like, you know, this is just my mind. This is for the sake of discussion. You kind of have to like, because I'm trying to disprove the indifferent universalists here, material people, right? So yeah, the reason, okay, probability is not understanding a system completely, and probabilities get skewed towards certainty the more you understand the system. Okay, right? So the indifferent universe has low probabilities when pain gets very high, and the probabilities get more okay-ish when pain is not that bad, right? So the probability of you getting tortured to like in a very horrible way is very low. The probability of that not happening is higher, right? Of course, those are just probabilities. There's absolutely, as I said in the beginning of the video, all we have at our disposal to understand the universe is uncertainty. No, all we have is observation and intuition. That's it. Everything you say about the universe to be true or false is just intuition. It's just your intuition. Nothing is true or false, practically speaking. True or false are just words invented to determine like a very practically reasonable statement, right? It's true. It's true that gravity goes down. It's true that whatever. Oh yeah, we have a third thing. Games. Mind games. Because you might be thinking right now, I can come up with something that is absolutely true. 2 plus 2 equals 4. It can never be false. Right? This is a game we invented in our mind. And I've just now been contemplating this very hard. I was supposed to continue the argument against the indifferent people. The indifferent universe people, but it's my fucking video, so I'm just gonna pause that for now and open a new tangent. I did not manage to beat them with facts and logic yet. But I'm gonna get at it. I'm not giving up. But what I was trying to say previously about the indifferent universe is if the probabilities are skewed towards our lives not being that bad, like us going through pain but not torture, doesn't that mean that the universe is fucking benevolent and it's saving us? Because like if all the probabilities were just random, because that's what indifference would look like, then the universe, then life would just be infinite, like horrible torture. But it's not. That means the universe seems to be kind of benevolent, right? So there's, oh yeah, the reason I got into the probability, we don't understand actually why things happen the way they do. We just measure the probabilities of someone getting tortured, and it's very low, right? We don't know the modulus operandi of what exactly are the determining factors of someone going like that. You might think you do. You're like, oh, okay, if you're born in a first world country, like if you're born in a very developed country, you have normal parents, you're gonna get a normal job, it's a higher chance of you getting tortured. If you're a soldier with information, you're a sniper, blah 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 blah. You're gonna come up with these things. Yeah, but you can say these practical things, and the probabilities is still gonna stay probability. It's never gonna be certain, right? So there's always a degree of us not understanding the system. So there's all. One second. I have to fucking go now. I have to drive my sister from school because she's too much of a lazy. She's too lazy to walk, basically. She's spoiled. I can only say negative things about him. I'm kind of a piece of shit too if I'm gonna say negative things about a person like this. But whatever. Quickly speaking, because I have to finish this quickly. What I was trying to say is that we don't know the modulus operandi of why this happened. So we could basically like there can be. So yeah. I'm such a fucking loser, bro. My fucking mom is beating on. What's more loser indicative than a mom beating at your door and annoying you? Nothing is more loser than that. Nothing. I'm so fucking embarrassed. But one day I'm gonna live alone and it's gonna be fine. But yeah, whatever. I forgot what I wanted to say. I got distracted. Whatever. I'm gonna talk later. See ya.